I moved to Los Angeles in, I think it was Christmas of 80, 81. I was 18 years old, moved here from Portland, Oregon, and started working for Roger Corman's New World Pictures. He had a studio in Venice on Main Street, and it was an old lumber yard called Hammond Lumber. And I was hired, I was a production assistant, and I was working on several movies that were going on at the time, films like Smokey Bites the Dust, and we were preparing a film called Galaxy of Terror. We were doing a commercial called Star Bar. Roger on That'll Be on the Stars had purchased all this visual effects equipment, like the Elecon motion control camera system and everything, and he was basically the low budget effects house in Los Angeles at the time. And so the producers of Escape from New York decided to have Roger do their visual effects for Escape from New York. Escape from New York was shot, beautifully shot by Dean Cundy in 35 millimeter Panavision scope. And so it was a decision amongst the visual effects guys, James Cameron, Bob and Denny Skotak, Austin McKenney, and others, that the visual effects would be shot in 70 millimeter. So once they went through several optical processes, they would still maintain a level of quality and not be grainy. So I remember them bringing in gigantic 70 millimeter cameras in to shoot New York City skyline, helicopters flying in, miniature helicopters. Almost all the visual effects for Escape from New York were done at the studio in Venice. One day, since I was an overall PA of the studio, I was told that the Escape from New York first team, first unit crew was going to be coming in to shoot necessary insert shots that they were unable to get when they did principal photography. And I think we were only a couple of weeks away from the release date. They needed tight shots of the inside the helicopter, and also shots of Kurt Russell crawling over the wall that was surrounding the Isle of Manhattan. They needed tighter shots, insert shots, the roping through the buckle, and they needed quite a few shots. So a very small team of people showed up that evening, and I stayed to work on it. It was John Carpenter, who I was a big fan of because I absolutely loved Halloween, his producer at the time, Deborah Hill, and Dean Cundy, the DP, and I think one camera assistant and one lighting man, and that was it. I don't think there was a sound man. And they had rebuilt the helicopter at Venice, the Venice studio, and all the shots of Kurt Russell with his hand on that joystick flying the helicopter, those were all done at the Venice studio, right next to the sets of Galaxy of Terror. And then the wall outside that surrounds the Isle of Manhattan, a portion of that wall was built in the parking lot of New World Pictures, and right next to the sets of what was the movie? I think it was called Firecracker, and our scene shop and dressing rooms. So they built it there, and they got Kurt Russell up there, and they did shots of his face, I think of him with the ropes and everything. So so they just needed about 6 hours worth of work, and then they were finished. So I got to meet John Carpenter, and I got to meet Dean Cundy, and unfortunately Deborah Hill is no longer with us. She was actually a little under the weather the night we were shooting. She had the flu, and so I didn't get a chance to talk to her much. But it was a great experience, and officially it's I think one of my very first credits on my resume, 18-year-old PA on Escape from New York. Years later, I worked with Adrienne Barbeau on a movie called Ring of Darkness. And I remember Adrienne from the TV show Maude, which I loved. I thought Adrienne was great on the show, and I loved B. Arthur, obviously. And but we were talking, and she was saying, "Dave, you work very, very quickly. You're very fast. You must have a lot of experience." And I said, "Well, yeah, I have a lot of experience. I like to work very quickly." And it was an 8-day feature, so we had to move very quickly. And she worked all 8 days. And so she said her ex-husband was a director and also worked very quickly and low budget and everything. I said, "Really? Who's your ex-husband?" And she said, "His name is John Carpenter." I had completely forgotten that she was married to John Carpenter at one point. And when her autobiography came out years later, she mentions me as a PA on Escape from New York, and then moving up to director of Adrienne Barbeau in Ring of Darkness.